Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Live with Liz. Hope everyone is having a great week. Hump day again. Here we are. Oh my gosh, this is the time of year where all we say is something like, I can't believe it's December. I can't believe it's this far in the year. I can't believe I haven't gotten these things done yet. Um, it's no different when we're trying to figure out where our clients are coming from, which is the focus of today's Live with Liz. We're talking about where do your clients come from? Do you know? Do you have an idea? I hope so at this point in time. But if you haven't given it a thought for a while and you haven't done your strategic planning yet, number one, you're not alone. A lot of strategic planning happens early in the year that it's actually going to take place. A lot of things get finalized down the road. And it's not uncommon for us to have to consider things, especially during times of transition, over and over again anyway, and to really look at things. But you know, we're still in this situation where we're not quite sure whether travel is going to really kick back up again, conferencing in person is going to really take place in the way we expect it to or hope for it to. Internationally, especially, those considerations are even greater. In the United States, there definitely does seem to be this feeling that in person is coming back. And this is something that I keep getting asked a lot. But why is this so important in the context of where your clients come from? Throughout the year, Live with Liz addresses several different ways to get new clients. We talk about marketing, we talk about business development, social media, we talk about SEO, we talk about advertising to some extent. And I've seen a lot of reports through the LMA and through other agencies about where clients come from. And then try and focus on strategies that make this a reality for the firms that work together with me. But in general, I like to share these things with you too. And so it turns out, I know this is completely shocking, that referrals are still the number one way to get new clients. And referrals can be divided into different types, whether they are referrals from acquaintances and actual clients who are happy with your work, who are pleased with your quality of service, who think of you when they're asked who to send work to. The other types of referrals come from a different bucket of people, right? They come from your friends, your family, your colleagues who are friends in the industry, but maybe not necessarily someone you've actually worked with directly. Now, when it comes to referrals, I find that a lot of times people fall short in amplifying this opportunity and in really bringing about more of what it can accomplish for you. And I know this from firsthand experience because I send referrals all the time. People say, hey, Liz, who do you recommend here and why? And have you worked with them before? And this is especially true for me related to intellectual property, in some cases, other practice areas that are related to IP, where I have had experience working in different jurisdictions all over the world. And because I started meeting people and knowing people, sure, I get asked all the time. But there are people who I'll send referrals to who go out of their way to make sure I remember them and to say, they have a strategy. They thank you for the referral, which seems to be pretty commonplace. But then maybe they'll come back later on and say, let's have a meeting, let's catch up, and use that as an opportunity, as a catalyst, if you will, to improve the relationship, grow the relationship, and to seek other opportunities. Who else do you know? Who else can you introduce me to? I'd love to meet the people in your network. I would love to work with them. This was so helpful for me in my business. This was the perfect client for me. Thank you for thinking of me. And to actually create a strategy around that is something that would set you apart. Not everyone does it, even if they think about it. And it's something that in times of limited business development opportunities, we can really take advantage of in a virtual way. This is something that doesn't require you to necessarily travel, but it's something to keep in mind for if you do. I still think travel is coming back. I still hope travel is coming back. Trying not to dwell on this Omicron announcement and, maybe see the good things that are coming down the road. You kind of feel it here. Maybe it's the holiday spirit. I'm Jewish, but whatever. The holiday spirit I still feel. And it's something that, I think we're looking forward to again getting in front of these people. And that's the other part of maximizing referral opportunities is making sure that you make friends, make sure that you expand your network, How do you, right now you can expand your network digitally. This is something we talk about pretty frequently. If you haven't taken steps to do that, LinkedIn, obviously, this is one of our primary sources for reaching out to new people and just connecting with them. Don't have to be salesy and try and introduce your firm and try and say, hey, I'd like to talk to you about my services. No, just be in the realm, be together with other people, and being in the network itself will help you do something that is absolutely crucial, even when it comes to that referral business, which is the biggest chunk. I actually saw the breakdown percentage wise recently. It was something like, I don't know, 40% of firms report getting referrals from clients, and like 60% report getting referrals from friends, something crazy like that. And something around that 30-40 percentage mark also now, Google. Google referrals. No. But something else to think about with your digital marketing strategy. Then when it comes to, again, that maximizing referral relationships and making friends, how are you going to do it? Well, I still think you can plan for some of these business development activities coming up in 2021. What I've seen is organizations, there are hybrid events still scheduled. There are still virtual events scheduled for first quarter next year, but I also see in-person events scheduled. I see one of the first ones that comes to mind is through AIPLA, the Midwinter Conference. This is one I attended for years. I actually really like this conference. It was always a little bit smaller, more intimate, at a really nice destination if you're in the US. They kind of flip between California and Florida. I think the next one coming up is in California, and Phoenix sometimes, but they're usually in resort-like settings where you can really get to know people, and they have rich content that at these conferences, that not all conferences are as sophisticated and don't really have the draw of this level of professionalism. That, these are not people who are paid to speak. They're not generally people who are paying for speaking opportunities. That changes things a little bit. And they have these focuses that really resonate with people right now. So that AIPLA Midwinter Conference coming up, I think it's the beginning of February 2022, might be that first option for next year in person for somebody to consider going to. And like in the virtual, you're reaching out, you have to get on your, maybe you should be practicing meeting people, really. If you want to practice, give me a call. We can have a virtual coffee and you can practice getting to know somebody again, because I think maybe we're all a little out of practice when it comes to approaching people and kind of figuring out how to make friends again. I mean, what do you say? How do you make friends? I had this one lady come up to me at one of these conferences over and over again. She's like, we're friends. We know each other. What? I'll be your friend. I'm very, very happy to be your friend. I'm kind. I like people. Sure, be my friend. And she insisted, no, no, no. We know each other. We are already friends. And you know what it was? And this happens in the legal industry too, and in IP all the time. It turns out we had a mutual friend on Facebook, and she just saw me so frequently in her feed that she thought that we were friends. You know who you are. Um, so it's one of these things where we're just going to have to get back into it. We're going to have to really consider what it means to get referrals these days. Now, when it comes to getting referrals, and this is where I kind of lost my train of thought a few minutes ago. Maybe you didn't notice, but if you did, here we are back on the train. When it comes to getting referrals, it's not all about making your friends and having the big network. It's still about being findable for them. It's still about having the presence online, of course, and also in person eventually, we hope, but online specifically right now, to be findable, to be front of mind for the people who are looking for you. That's true even for your friends. That's true even for your business network. That's true even for your clients. So that's especially somewhere where LinkedIn can come into play, because when I am asked for a referral, sometimes I can't remember everyone I know in a particular jurisdiction. Or maybe a particular part of the world has gotten fuzzy for me over the last couple of years. So what I do is I immediately go to my LinkedIn network. I do a search for my connections by location, and I say, aha, I remember this person, wonderful to work with. This is the one I want to send the referral to. So if that's a process that people go through, I can't imagine I'm alone in this process, but that person being findable, being present on LinkedIn, having an updated account and being visible to me What happens if you know hundreds of people in a particular jurisdiction? You have to narrow it down. But being findable is what led to a referral. And that's still true too if somebody's going to Google. As we said, Google is still one of the primary ways people look for potential counsel. So maybe your clients are going to come from Google searching. What does that mean for you? So for 2021, set yourself some goals. Reconnect with your network. Make sure that you're in position to take on referrals. Make sure that people can remember who you are, think of you when it comes time, and be findable. And then when it comes to just the general findability and presence online, maybe for 2021, you need to look again. And even if you looked at maybe it's an annual exercise, maybe it's something even more frequent than that, depending on the size of your firm and the investments that you're making, it really matters to have a high performing website. That high performing website can make you more findable, optimized for search engines to find you. Right. So if you haven't revisited the value of your website and how it performs and that client journey, no time like the present. I mean, here we are, end of year. Let's go ahead and do it and set some priorities and some goals for 2022. Even if you haven't had the chance to go into a full strategy, there's no time like now to go ahead and do it for yourself. And if you're a lawyer working within a firm who maybe doesn't drive the entire ship, but is somebody who has your own practice and has your own clients, do this for yourself and maybe revisit that individual development plan, but consider your own goals and consider your own network. Reach out to your current clients, your past clients. Make sure that you maintain those connections that will draw people to you and make them remember you and continue to come to you for years to come. And if you have a chance to then also send work to other people, you can leverage that as well. Of course, it's a little bit of a different conversation, but that two-way street is something that's valuable depending on what practice area you're in, which jurisdiction you belong to. We've heard a lot in Live with Liz over the year and even prior to this past year about data and analytics. And you don't have to wait for your firm to mine the data and to figure out where you are. There are things that you can do individually, even if you're doing it simply through social media, even if you're looking at yourself simply through your own client work and your own case management docketing system, whatever you have access to. You can do this on an individual level, and you can really set some priorities for yourself to achieve results. Now, if you can only go to one or two conferences a year, maybe not 10 or 15 as some of the big BD people do, I would take a look and see what's actually happening in person again for 2022 and consider where you want to be and what direction you want to take. But let's think about where these audiences are and whether or not people will actually be there for you to actually meet new people, make new friends, and get that referral business that so many people rely on for the continuity of their work. And, who doesn't want to make new friends? I want to make new friends. I always do. I'm not sure yet where I'll be in 2022, which conferences I'll go to. I mean, the recent announcement by INTA for Washington, D.C. just feels so normal, and it definitely looks like it'll go ahead. So I think a lot of people will have their eye on INTA in D.C. And INTA is always a place to make friends and to, of course, to expand on your business opportunities. But the friendship level at INTA is maybe up a notch from some of the other conferences I've attended. You probably has a reputation of being a party place, but there are a lot of opportunities there that are more serious and grounded in academics, government initiatives, policy regulation, the substantive matters of your work that really make a difference as to whether or not the friends you make are the right kind of friends in the right place. And INTA seems to bring all of that together for people. So if you're not looking at maybe AIPLA in the US, I think INTA is the next logical opportunity that is big. Of course, there's some other events in between. AIPLA has a spring meeting. The American Bar Association has the Intellectual Property Law Section event. So you have a lot to choose from. And if you need some help figuring these things out, want to talk them through, or just want to make a friend and see if that leads to something later on, no strings attached. Give me a shout, solutions@firmforward.com. And we're coming up to the end of the year. If anyone has any questions or requests for Live with Liz topics, I've received a few over this year that have made it more interesting for me to plan these little talks for everybody. If you have a request, though, just also send that solutions@firmforward.com or @firmforward all over social media. And as we put together the calendar for next year, happy to consider those as well. And yeah, just enjoy the rest of your week. If you're not here and don't check in for Live with Liz over the next couple of weeks, have a wonderful holiday with your family and hopefully see you in 2022. Take care, everybody.